On this week's show, we're discussing Nintendo bringing their A game this summer with an actual Zelda game, the PlayStation Portal getting its first major update, and a ton of new and old games just got announced coming soon. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we get together to round up all the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV, and also available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Your podcast players for the week are myself, Chris, and my fellow co-host, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello indeed, and we do have a great show lined up for you all, but before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all the great content we do here on the channel, such as this very show, our weekly live streams where we play with you, the wonderful community, and some other videos that we put up, whether it be retro or current or new. You'll just have to check out the channel to find out. Recently, we had the final part of Uncharted Golden Abyss, the PlayStation Vita exclusive, will be up this week. So it's there, the full thing is there. There is a full extended video that will go up afterwards as well. And this week, Richie, I also literally dove into Still Wakes the Deep, which is from the Chinese room of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture fame. They just dropped a new title out. It's also available on Xbox Game Pass, so I checked that out via Cloud Gaming. But more on that later in this show, because we do have the review roundup as part of the show notes as well. But it's been a bit of a week for games. We had a couple of things. Nintendo surprised us with a direct. We didn't cover it on the channel like we would do for more showcases, purely because of the time zones for Nintendo. I don't think we've actually ever covered one live because of the Japanese time zones.
We're usually at work when that happens, so there's not really much we can do about it.
Yeah, it was like early afternoon on Wednesday or Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah, I was naughty and I actually watched it while I was at work.
Shh, that's fine. That's all good. So we're going to round up all that and much, much more, as I've said. Richie, have you been playing anything interesting between watching Euro football fixtures? Anything you've been playing?
I have. So this might hold the record for me from the longest it took me from starting a game to getting a platinum in Assassin's Creed 2. I got that game on launch in 2009 on the PC. Right. I got the platinum last night.
So what's the time gap? Was Assassin's Creed 2 was probably what?
15 years.
Damn. That is I don't know if that's impressive or not.
I joke, but actually it's on the Ezio collection I've got. I got the original version on PC, but way back in the day, and I completed at the time. Didn't do all the trophies back then because no one cares about the same trophies. But yeah, I finally got. It's actually my first Assassin's Creed platinum.
Wow, congratulations. Is it straight on to the next one then, or have you had your fill now, do you think?
I think I've had my fill for now, but I do want to go back and do like Brotherhood and Revelations eventually.
Yeah. There are known quantity as well with those three Ezio games. Like, you can pick up the next one and you'll have probably just as much fun as you did playing 2. Yeah,
well, that's it. I really enjoyed playing 2. I think it's a great game. It's like, to be honest, arguably still the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed, where it still is an Assassin's game. The main reason I'm not that bothered jumping straight into Brotherhood is quite simply because there's other games I want to play, because I'm still playing through South Park Stick of Truth. Eventually I will get back to the Zelda Ocarina of Time. I've still got Jedi Survivor to play, which I haven't played in weeks at this point. And then we've got a host of new fantastic games coming up as well. So it's like, do I commit to Assassin's Creed when there's also an Assassin's Creed coming out later this year, which I'm probably more interested in playing?
Yeah, there's a stack back half of the year, so you've got a couple of weeks before things start popping off. We're just about to head into July, of course, and for me, I think August is when stuff really starts to hit. Star Wars Outlaws, now Life is Strange, Double Exposure. Then in November, we've got Assassin's Creed, and no doubt a couple of things sprinkled in between, thanks to Game Pass and other things like Call of Duty, which I probably wouldn't usually play, but now I'm going to have to check out because it's included. And that's not included.
As well.
And that's not including Nintendo, like I said, dropping. They dropped the Direct and said they were going to showcase what the back end of 2024 and beyond has got for us. So we'll get into all that. once I've coughed.
Will.
But Richie, I've been playing this past week, so I think I've ran my course now with FC24. I think I've the football overload at the moment. I've just done like 4 seasons of career mode back to back to back to back. I've finished watching Welcome to Wrexham, which has been kind of stoking the flames of my interest in it, and then obviously we've got the Euros now. But I feel like either the performance by the England national team just sucked all the enjoyment out of my love for football as it stands. But I feel I'll put that to the side. So I've actually gone back and started playing the Jack and Daxter Precursor Legacy on it's the PS4 version, but I think I'm going to go for the Platinum Trophy on that one. And I'm playing it a mixture of on the big screen and on the TV. For those who don't know, Jack and Daxter is the game Naughty Dog did between Crash Bandicoot and the Uncharted series. But for some reason, it's like a weird blind spot in my video game history. I don't know, it was just my age at the time or the lack of funds to go out and buy these games, or maybe just unaware that this was from the makers of Crash Bandicoot. Because when you're a kid, you don't have a clue who develops what, do you? You just play what you're given, or you play what your mates are playing.
You probably saw him thought, I'd rather just play Crash. Yeah,
probably. Didn't think of it, but it's interesting because going back to it, there's so much DNA of Crash Bandicoot in there, from like some of the sound effects to the level design. It's basically if you took Crash Bandicoot, in my opinion, and made it into like a 3D Mario. They've kind of gone like the little mini open world adventures. And I'm enjoying it. The humour's quite fun. It is just like a bit of a collectathon. You're collecting like little precursor relics, which are the little golden eggs, and you're collecting little robot flies around. And it is just that typical 3D Banjo-Kazooie-esque platformer, and for something just a bit brain dead to do while I'm listening to podcasts and the football's on, I'm enjoying it. I think about probably just over halfway to the platinum now. It's got some old mechanics which don't age too well, but it's probably quite a bit older than Assassin's Creed 2, to be fair. So, but the Portal is making it again that perfect game where, because it is so simplistic, it's jump, spin, attack, dive, that's about it. It translates really well to the handheld on the Portal as well, and the graphics obviously aren't up to today's standards, but enjoyed it. I might go on to the next one. We'll see how long, but it's only a short one. I think it's about 8 hours or something to get the platinum, so it's not like a hard grind either. Ever played one?
Nope. To be honest, I was never a huge Crash fan. I like Crash. I don't love Crash, but I'm not. I don't know. There's something. I think because the first game is insanely difficult. I bought the Crash
Insane Trilogy.
Insane Trilogy, and I've barely played it, to be honest. It was installed on my PS4 for years, and it was one of them games. I have installed, and I'll jump in and out occasionally. Mm-hmm. Then just never did.
Oh, we do have some news on that title anyway, but before we get into it, if you're not a fan of Crash, you might be a fan of another platform mascot, which would be Super Mario. Which is Assassin's Creed 2, is Uncle Mario in Assassin's Creed 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He does actually say, "It's me, Mario."
It's Mario, yeah, of course he does. I love it. But, of course, we can't get into all that information until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, a.k.a.
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, the fantastic folks who support the channel that extra little bit more. From as little as 99p, you get early access to this very show, just like Derek does, who's listening on his long work day on a Saturday, if this is up in time. And all of our other wonderful guild heroes who support us. You get the live streams early sometimes, such as the Uncharted Golden Abyss playthrough. You all got that up to a week early ahead of public release, and a couple of other things sprinkled in there, plus stickers and badges next to your name. But more importantly, it helps support us as we fight the YouTube algorithm that likes to bury us. Along with Google Stadia, it's just chucking dirt on week in, week out. But it's helped by you sharing, liking, commenting, spreading the algorithm, spread the love, and it helps us find new people. So thank you very much for everyone.
Task for everyone: go around your nan's house, have a cup of tea, and make her listen to the podcast. Convert the old people into fans.
That's an interesting demographic you want us to go for, Richie. But if they want to listen,
Untapped. A lot of gaming content is aimed at younger people. Let's go the other direction,
because that will bode well for our longevity. Yes, and thanks to everyone who reached out regarding our 5-year anniversary plans as well. We will get more concrete stuff in the date in the calendar soon. But bear in mind. We need to talk about some Nintendo stuff though, Richie. So as we said, Direct got announced. We got a whole slew of new games and remasters and such announced, and other things confirmed, which you did know about. But let's kick things off with I guess we'll go on probably the running order. We will traditionally skip over some of the smaller titles, some of the things maybe we already knew about that were at Summer Game Fest or we knew were coming, because they're we're not going to talk about them for too long. But Nintendo Direct, it ran for about half an hour, the presentation. And Richie, they kicked things off with Mario and Luigi Brothership coming this November 7th, 2024 to Switch and Switch Lite. We've got a new Mario and Luigi game, Richie.
We do. And it's part of the long-running Mario and Luigi RPG franchise, which is separate to the Paper Mario RPG franchise. And to be honest, I think it's been quite a while since a Mario and Luigi game came out. So
yeah, it's been about 10 years, I think, since the last one.
Yeah, so just Nintendo doing weird things. I mean, it looks decent.
Yeah,
I've not played any of them.
I've played the 2D. I mean, they're the Super Mario Brothers, aren't they?
No, I haven't, like the RPG ones. I've not played a single Mario and Luigi RPG or Paper Mario RPG.
Yeah, the last Mario and Luigi game we got on the Nintendo DS. Sorry, the first one was 2009. The last one was 2018 on the 3DS.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in Brothership, it looks like Mario accommodates their own sailing ship to explore a whole new world dotted with islands in their quest to return to the Mushroom Kingdom. The two must work together using their powers of brotherly love to overcome obstacles and beat bosses. And what's quite interesting with this one is the art style's almost got like a... not cel-shaded, but the outline of all the characters definitely has like a bolder thickness to it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's something I think they do on the Switch quite a lot. Like enhance just the outlines of characters just a bit, just to make them pop a bit.
Like Borderlands style almost.
Yeah, but
it does work. I think it's a cute little art style, and
yeah.
I tell you what, if you're an RPG fan and you have a Switch, you are eating well right now. We just had Paper Mario, and then there was the 1,000 Year Door one as well, if I recall.
Yeah, I think that's a remake or remaster.
Yeah.
I'd have to look up, but 1,000 Year Door is definitely not a new game.
Mm-hmm. It's 1,000 years old, some would say.
But
so
this is Brothership is absolutely 100% a new game.
Yeah, and it looks clean. Where do you stand on this one then? So, surprise, it's coming this November. So we've just talked about all the games we're playing at the back end of the year, and now they're just going to throw this one into the mix. Now, I think a lot of the Nintendo stuff I'll probably lean more towards you for, because that's where more of your gaming heritage is. Whereas I'm sat over here playing Crash and ignoring Jak and Daxter. You were in the thick of it with 3DSs and 2DSs and such. Did this do anything for you?
I think it looks good, and I'd maybe like to play it at some point. It's not a game for me this year, though, because there's just other stuff I'd rather play. Like, as mentioned up the top of the show, what I've already kind of got on the go. Then we've got Star Wars Outlaws, we've got Assassin's Creed Shadows to play, coming out round about that end of the year, September and November period.
Yeah.
This doesn't do enough for me to go, this is the game I absolutely want to play this year, but this is one of them where I kind of wish there was like a Nintendo equivalent, like PlayStation Plus. Then maybe in 2 years' time or something, it comes over there and go, oh, that's when I play it.
Except for it'll just retain a £70 price point for eternity.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it looks good. I would like to play it. I know I'd probably enjoy it, but I'm not going to because of just literally other games. Yeah,
I think the only Nintendo game I've seen discounted was the ones they did in partnership with Ubisoft with the Rabbids.
Yeah.
And that's probably Ubisoft's prerogative to drop the price.
They do go down in price, just not as much as you wish.
Mm.
And that's just the thing is, but it happens because Nintendo sells games at that price, where I think Nintendo first-party games feel less disposable than other platforms' first-party games. Well, in a weird way, like, so that's why they retain their value.
Yeah, I mean they've done fantastic over the decades with that Nintendo seal of approval that you used to see on the boxes, and they've almost like conditioned their audience to just not expect discounts. And in the long run, I mean that could like totally kill your business in the short run. But they've done it for so long now through many iterations of market sales and fluctuations that that's almost like their standard that they've set. And you see sometimes PlayStation, Xbox attempt that, but then they always buckle and do stuff like throw Horizon Forbidden West into PlayStation Plus because they're trying to balance all these other things. Like you said, Nintendo don't have that. They don't have a subscriber base thing that they have to supplement with current new big AAA games. They have their online stuff by all means, but that's digging back in decades of catalogue. Whereas, I feel like PlayStation, Xbox go like, we need something for Game Pass this month. We need something to make PlayStation Plus sing in the summer. And Nintendo just go, no, if you want it, it's 70 quid. And they make full top dollar on every unit sold. Like Mario Kart is probably still like, it's probably not as expensive, but they must be making bank on Mario Kart still, like 8-9 years later.
Yeah,
more than.
I'm probably one of the few people who don't own it in the world.
Did you not get it as a pack-in?
I've never got Mario. I've never owned Mario Kart 8. I've always kind of wanted it, but as what you're saying, it doesn't come down in price enough to me. For me, it doesn't quite hit that. Oh, it's only 15 quid impulse buy kind of bracket. And now I'm at a point where with the Switch where. Despite the Switch, this Direct being really good, it's like it was almost more of a surprise because I thought it was like there's a Direct, it's going to be the last few bits, and then soon it feels like the Switch is on its last legs. But they nailed this Direct, and it's like so Mario Kart. I kind of want Mario Kart 9 rather than 8, and I want it on the next platform rather than on the Switch. So it'd have to be quite a drop in price for me to impulse buy it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, an impulse buy on Amazon, it's currently Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, $37.99 still.
Yeah.
Still.
Which, I mean...
If this was a Ubisoft game, it would be like £6 now.
It's absolutely worth the money, but I don't want to pay that much for it.
And interesting enough, on Amazon, 1,000 plus people bought it in the last month still.
Who's buying that game? Like, still,
again, just evergreen titles, and that's what Nintendo do so well. And which is why, like games like Mario and Luigi, it might not sell gangbusters out the gates, but it'll have that long trickle effect where it'll just get in at every kid's birthday, every Christmas. Mum and Dad will go, "Yeah, we'll buy you the new Mario game. We'll get you that." And because it's Mario, I think regardless of who he's partnered with, whether it's a Mario Party, whether it's Mario and Luigi, whether it's Mario and Rabbids, people will buy it because of the brand name and the recognition that it's going to be a solid entry, regardless of what genre.
Yeah. There is a potential issue with the date this comes out, though, because if Switch 2 comes out in, say, February, March, April time, and it's not backwards compatible, this game's only got a couple, it doesn't have that long trail. And there's no guarantee that Switch 2 will be backwards compatible, and there's no guarantee that... like this game will actually even come to Switch 2. Nintendo have done that before where they brought out games quite late in the lifespan of a console, and then it's a new console and any sort of lifespan, which is why Mario Kart 8 got eventually ported over to the Switch as a new title, but it's not the Wii U version. It's a complete separate game.
They did that a lot with the Wii U catalogue after its failure.
I think... with how strong the Switch has been and how amazing the library is, I think what the Switch 2, I still stand by what it needs to be is the Switch 2. It needs to use the same cartridges, so I can pick up the cartridges I already have and put them into a Switch 2. You can eventually maybe bring out a light version that doesn't have the cartridges if you want to get away from that, but the base version I want to be able to use my Switch, play my Switch games on this new device. I might have my entire library that I currently have access to on my Switch on that device.
Well, you'll have to wait to find out, because at the Nintendo Direct, they did not mention the successor to the Switch, and they actually said that ahead of time. Where would you like to jump to next in this Direct presentation?
There's a remake of Donkey Kong Country coming out. Again, another Nintendo game that's got a really strong reputation that I just haven't played. I think this one was a Wii game originally, but it looks good.
Donkey Kong Country
Returns
HD.
It's 2024 Nintendo. HD isn't impressive.
Yeah, and they can't say 4K because the Switch can't run 4K. Yeah. It's a fun one. The Donkey Kong games I've enjoyed, the ones I've played. I think just the original Donkey Kong Country, for me, it was just a fun puzzle platformer. It's interesting how many platformers Nintendo still put out just with like different characters. Like it's actually mad to think like in a world where we're so used to now open world massive RPGs that span like hundreds of hours and miles upon miles of digital real estate, Nintendo just like, no, he's our monkey character from the 80s and gorilla, sorry, and just more fun and shenanigans with him and his family of Kongs.
But that's arguably the strength of Nintendo is they don't follow trends.
Mm-hmm.
Where I always criticize Ubisoft, where it feels like most of the decisions that went in creative decisions came from the marketing team. Like, you must have open world, you must have quests, you must have RPG systems. Like, you have these almost checklists that Ubisoft games have. Nintendo just go, what's the game? Is it fun? That's basically it. And go, and sometimes 2D platformers are fun, so they just keep making them.
Yeah, keep diving back into that well, don't they?
Yeah. But they only do it though when they have good ideas for them.
Yeah,
and again, this one's a remake anyway from a Switch game, so a Wii game.
Yeah, they're in an interesting place where they kind of go back and do Wii and Wii U ports, and then they've got the Nintendo Switch Online catalog going back to bring in the older stuff. So as a side note to all that, we got an announcement that they're going to be bringing mature games to the Nintendo Switch Online as well, and this comes in the form of, well, they're not all mature games, but we got The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and The Four Swords, or The Link to the Past, The Four Swords. We got Metroid Zero Mission, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, and the long-awaited return of Perfect Dark from the N64. It's coming as a collection. We should point out, asterisk, there is a separate app you need to download on your Switch to access a couple of these 18 or 17 plus mature titles, because we got caught out when we were looking for it, of like it launched, but where was it, and somehow Nintendo can't age lock things within the app, so they need a separate download, which is such a Nintendo thing.
But it's stupid because you can just download that app. So there's a separate Nintendo 64 Switch Online app for mature content, which literally has Turok and Perfect Dark in it and nothing else.
Why not just put them in the same one with the age limitations?
Why isn't it not just a one Switch Online app and have select your different libraries from in that one app? Why do I have to have like 4 or 5 different apps downloaded? Nintendo, unify this.
And let's be honest, Turok and Perfect Dark, are they really a 17 rating in today's world? Like,
absolutely not. I don't know about Perfect Dark, and if Turok isn't.
I just, even with Perfect Dark, with the guns and violence, I was like, you're telling me Fortnite, which is I'm guessing a family-friendly game, isn't less violent? Like, because visually, it's way more clearer. You have guns and swords, and you're beating people up. Like,
I stand by as well. Turok Dinosaur Hunter is one of the most important first-person shooters ever made. I think it's often overlooked, but if you think about that era of first-person shooters, everyone goes to GoldenEye, which GoldenEye, very important, probably the most successful of its generation.
Yeah.
Turok, I think, is arguably more important, because what Turok did was standardise putting aim on the analog stick. And I think it's the first console shooter to do it. Admittedly, then 64 controller only has one analog stick, so your movement is with the C things, and it's not good implementation. It's very, very springy.
Yeah,
like you look up and it's bang, up down. It's like
whiplash.
And this game is basically unplayable on the Switch, in my opinion, without an N64 controller. Jumpers on R.
Yeah,
it's weird, the control scheme. But I think it is a good game, and I think it's an important game, just that it's often overlooked.
Yeah, it's one that a lot of people are crying out for. And actually, didn't we had a rating, I think, about 2 weeks ago. It was like a Taiwanese rating board had rated Turok, but we didn't know if it was going to be a remaster or just a port. This might be what it was. All things said and done.
It probably is this. I'd like to see the franchise come back.
Give it a Doom makeover.
I don't think a remake would do it, though. I think you probably just need to start again.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything in the first trilogy that was necessarily hard story, details. So I'd be quite happy for them to just make something from the ground up. Call it Turok, just Turok, or even Dinosaur Hunter again if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And just give me some beautifully realised dinosaurs that I get to go out and hunt, because that game used to scare me when I was a kid. Like some of the raptors jumping out here, and again, probably also equally scared by the N64 mechanics and the way it controlled, because I didn't quite have a good grasp of it. So when you would be hunted by dinosaurs, it would be so clunky to navigate your way around and get out. It added to the fear. That's similar to Dino Crisis.
I think they should look into what Bethesda have done with id Studio have done with Doom.
Doom, yeah.
It needs the Doom treatment, because I think this game needs to be fast paced.
Oh, absolutely.
It needs to be fast paced. You need to be on the move. It's not a cover shooter.
Yeah, you need, like, again, if you're hunted by velociraptors, you can't just sit still. They will literally, we've seen it in the movies, they will literally hunt you down like a pack. So yeah, looking forward to it. We did plan to check out Perfect Dark on the channel, but due to scheduling and other things, we haven't done so yet. The thumbnail's done for it. But yeah, we'll get round to it at some point, because I think that the footage we saw from the Xbox showcase has me very intrigued for what a Perfect Dark could look like. I know a couple of folks now on Discord are huge fans. Yeah, but we're both huge GoldenEye fans, so this is the better non-licensed version.
I think the reason I never played Perfect Dark is, if memory serves, you needed the expansion pack for the N64, and I didn't have it, so I never played Perfect Dark or Majora's Mask on my N64.
Yeah, it's actually still on the box art. You can see it, the little booster thing.
Because the N64 wasn't good enough to play this game.
That's crazy to think consoles still had that, but not in today's world.
Yeah.
Richie,
nowadays, you just download some more RAM and you're fine.
Download it, get it done. Another side one that I hadn't really mentioned, but I want to get it in there for all of our fighter fans out there, is Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. It's not really in my wheelhouse, but I've seen loads of people on the internet pop off about this one, saying like it's mad that they managed to get these all under one roof. So this is X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, then Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes, and The Punisher, which was only ever out in arcades. So it's actually a first for console ever, which I think is so cool. That talk about video game preservation, but then to go back and actually get something that only ever existed in the arcades is such a cool addition to this. We've probably played these time and time again
without even realizing it. Yeah.
And here it is. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
The very well regarded games. I'm glad to see it making a comeback. I'm not a fighting game person though, and I think even especially old era fighting games, I personally think they always feel a bit clunky now and don't really hold up. But that's because I don't really have a solid nostalgia for that style of game. Again, I've probably dicked around with you in the arcades and stuff playing them, but then I walk away and never think of them again. But I'm glad it's coming.
Yeah, it's any kind of compilations is really good to see, and I think
and it's coming this year.
What's the date for it?
It's just 2024 listed.
Okay, so they haven't actually said it, but I do think it's always an interesting one, because like Marvel and Capcom, you're like, what does that actually mean? Like
it's a weird.
It's and
crossover.
They've tried it a few times, but I have fond memories of playing them. One of my favorite fighting games. I know I'm not into the fighting game scene, but was X-Men Mutant Academy, which was great. Yeah. I used to be that jammy bastard who used to sit there with Toad and just use his tongue and go like smash the same button. You know, when you had a move that just worked, and because I was never great at the combos, you would just be able to sit as Toad at a distance and go and hit the enemy in the face before they could even get a move in. It was jammy as anything, and I know whoever I was playing hated it, but it worked for me.
There's all that era fighting game. There'll always be like one character has one move where their move is slightly quicker than what the person get hit can get out of the stun lock. So before the person can actually react, you're hitting again.
Yeah, and you've just got
so
that.
you just
just like cannot do anything. Everyone's felt that pain.
But back in the day, you couldn't patch that out. Once it was on the cartridge, that's it.
Yeah, there's no balancing getting done there. But it's just mad to think like there was a deal that broke that put like Mega Man versus Gambit and stuff. It's like, how did this get signed off? It's such an odd combination.
Yeah, I think like Marvel wasn't what it is now.
No, not at all.
But it was still probably had quite popular with like the 90s TV shows, like the X-Men and Spider-Man TV
Yeah.
shows and stuff.
It's interesting, like the lease of life they get, like the Punisher arcade game, like the Punisher's like in pop culture. I'm just watching the trailer now, and he's like the Punisher's fighting Nick Fury in like a Streets of Rage style combat, and you've got like Thanos and stuff showing up, and it's like these are characters that are so well known now, but the game's from like 15 plus years ago. It's such an interesting peek through a window of time that you would never have otherwise.
The Marvel characters do have the kind of like X-Men TV show kind of look to them as
97,
well.
yeah. Which again, that's seen a massive resurgence just this past month. So yeah, I'm there for it, and it's got the quick save features, the rewind features as well. So which is kind of a nice polishing touch that a lot of modern
imagine you're playing this 2-player and someone just hit someone, so they just rewind.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it on court versus, but in the campaign modes.
No, you can't. I think you will be able to, because the way it applies to just the whole game.
Well, that's true.
Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Maybe online you can't, but I don't know. But
what's that over
like,
there? Rewind.
Local, you're probably able to.
Yeah, quite possibly. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that these games still exist out there, and like I said, them coming to a collection, I think, is a nice way to bundle them all together under one roof. So we'll see that later on this year when it finally gets its release. Where do you want to jump to next? Because we got a lot of announcements. There was a lot of like fluff in between for Nintendo, but it was quite a strong showing. Yeah,
it was. We'll gloss through a few quick things. We've got some gameplay for Lego Horizon Adventures, and the date comes out holiday 2024.
We did, yeah, which we knew was coming because it was at Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley's announcement. But what I don't think we expected was to see it actually at a Nintendo presentation, like them to officially have that game just there front and center, which makes you wonder. Imagine the pop that would have got if it wasn't at Game Fest and it was actually at this showcase, this direct instead. And it would have been like, hang on a minute, what? No, what? PlayStation?
Rather than announcing it coming to Nintendo, that could easily be Nintendo's opener.
Yeah.
Imagine if they hadn't at like Summer Games Fest announced it was coming, and then the first trailer of the direct was Lego Horizon Adventures. Like, holy shit!
Very confused and stuff. As a side note to that, because I know we spoke about Lego Horizon Adventures, do you think it will sell more on the Switch than PlayStation?
I actually do, yeah.
Because I feel like it's definitely more in that family-friendly, fun couch co-op wheelhouse that I think Switch sits perfectly in with the Mario and the party games and stuff. I think it will as well, which just shows you that PlayStation or Xbox or any of them for that matter locking themselves to one ecosystem in today's world is practically leaving money on the table. Like, why would you do it? Like, Nintendo, could you imagine the money they would rake in if they finally started to port some of these games to PC, like PlayStation have been doing? They would make a fortune. Not that they need it, but could you imagine Mario Odyssey or something coming out on PC January next year when Nintendo might have a quiet spot for Switch? How many people would buy Odyssey on PC?
That would be amazing. But there's always a bit of the apples about Nintendo where they want to control a bit too much of their ecosystem, and sometimes they're not very good at certain aspects of their ecosystem. Like the Switch's online capabilities aren't great, to be honest.
No, they're not.
And the fact that when you need an app on your phone for like voice comms and stuff, there's weird decisions.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, I think you're right. It'd absolutely sell. Imagine something like natively being able to play something like Tears of the Kingdom.
Crank those settings up to max
on the PC and the
wide screen.
Imagine what the mod community could do with that.
Oh yes.
But
I think one day, but
one day, yeah.
It is not this day.
To be fair, some of the games that were shown at this direct and exclusive to Nintendo's, obviously the Nintendo first party ones are, but one of the ones I want to get into, the Dragon Quest games that have been announced.
Yeah, talking about retro nostalgia, Dragon Quest, they did it in an interesting order. They did Dragon Quest 3 2D HD remake. Is that the right title?
Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. So the HD 2D stuff is Octopath. started with Octopath Traveler and that kind of art style. So they were applying that to Dragon Quest. Like they have announced that they're doing it to 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But they're starting with 3,
Yep.
which will be out on 14th of November this year, with 1 and 2 coming next year. And the reason they're starting with 3 is it's the first in chronological order.
Yeah, they're doing a Metal Gear Solid Delta with us, which I kind of get. When they did the announcement, the guy actually came out and explained on the stream, didn't he? It's like, this is why we're doing it.
Which I appreciate. Is like, what? It's like, why are you starting with 3? It's like, this is the reason we're starting with 3. Because 1, 2, 3, they are continuous games.
Do you feel like just a collection of all 3 would have been better, or do you think they know they can make money from spreading these out a bit more?
I think they'll know they'll make money.
I will say, though, these 2D HD art styles look gorgeous.
They do.
They look great in Octopath, and I know Dragon Quest are like so well revered, so I think to get them back in this style is a great choice.
This is one of the reasons why I'm not playing Mario and Luigi Brothership, because I think I will be playing Dragon Quest 3. Because I played Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of an Elusive Age, to give it its full title, on Switch. And I loved that game. It was like, so it's first and only Dragon Quest game I've ever played. And I do like the 2D HD style of these. Yeah. From Octopath. So I was like, oh, I now can get to go and play the older Dragon Quest games with modern sensibility, in a modern sensibility that is alluding back to... And the HD 2D style is kind of like how people's nostalgia for these games were. Yeah. So it kind of removes like the awkwardness of it being an old game. So it's like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I think
but
they're good.
I have a caveat.
Oh.
I'm not playing this on Switch.
Looks better on your PlayStation?
I think I'd rather just play it on my Portal.
Oh, that, yeah.
But the Portal is, because I have played some mess around with my Switch since I watched the Direct. The Portal's ergonomics are so much better than the Switch's. So I was like, well, if it's come to PlayStation, I think I'd rather have it in my PlayStation library than my Switch library. Especially, as I said earlier, there's no guarantee the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. So, yeah, I'd rather have it on PlayStation.
There you go for them trophies as well.
Yeah.
But, solid showing. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake is coming November 14th. It does say 2025 in this.
That's for 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. I'm reading that back to front. Like, chronologically. So 3 is this year, 2 and 1 are next year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Quick one, not really for us, but it's got the existence in there. It's the Super Mario party update. I was going to say party game, but it's got a proper name if I can find it in the article before we get into something else. Super Mario Party Jamboree, which, again, the Mario Party games are those ones that just kind of forever will be coming out, similar to Mario Kart, but these ones seem to hit at a bigger cadence. You just get a bunch of little party games. You ever played a Mario Party?
I think I have. I've never owned one, though. I think the Mario Party games would be fun to play on stream, actually.
They would. It's one of those where I think because I no longer live at home with siblings or you and me with friends, like when we get together, we tend to have alcohol or do something now rather than just be sat around our houses or in our parents' living room or anything. So I think this would have been great for a time for us. But I think if you'd have a family now, if you've got 2 kids and it's mum, dad, the little ones or something, or you're are in an age where you've just got that time to get together and have fun without alcohol, which is a sad indictment of being an adult. But I think it looks great. It's just loads of fun little party games, really, isn't it? You roll a dice, something happens, you compete, and fun little mini games sprinkled throughout, utilising the Switch, of course, with the shake and wiggle mechanics. Fun little new maps and areas. And it looks like this.
Nintendo know how to make a fun game. Mario Party, I think, is the epitome of that. This game is just meant to be fun and nothing else.
Just wacky, zany fun. And it looks like they're going to include a lot of levels from Mario Party 1 and 2. So if you've got any favourites from other entries, they're going to make an appearance as well. So, yeah. Any more to add on Mario Party Jamboree?
Not really.
Have you ever been to a Jamboree?
I don't.
What is a Jamboree?
I think it's like a kind of party thing, but I don't know what specifically makes something a jamboree. Do there have to be more jam there?
Or bees?
Yeah.
Jamboree bees?
You get your bees, you cover them in jam, and now you have a jamboree.
I guess they're not. What's the bee equivalent in the Mario universe?
There is actually just bees in the Mario
Is there?
universe.
Oh, there's not like a Gumba bee or anything.
No, I think they're larger and stuff, but I think they are large. You just look like bees.
Still bees. Oh well, October 17th. So again, between Mario and Luigi and Dragon Quest and this, you've got again a good couple of stacked titles to come to Switch.
Yeah,
back into the year. Where would you like to go next, Richie?
There's two big titles we still need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to save the one I'm most interested in to last, so let's go to Metroid 4 Beyond.
Metroid 4 Beyond.
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, sorry.
Naming conventions. Got to get them right. So Metroid 4 Beyond. It's been a long time coming, this one. So this is the first-person shooter. This is the one, if I recall, was in development for a few years. They announced it, and then they also announced it was completely canned and started again from scratch, which is why it's taking so long. So 2025 is the release window. They've not given it. But the game was first revealed on June 2017, so back when E3 existed, and it was just a logo, and then they announced in 2019, so before we even started this channel, that they were going to reboot the title. So back to the drawing board, and here we are. So still a year and a half out, probably, give or take. No doubt this is going to be a Switch 2 opening window.
I think this probably might be a launch title. With how Breath of the Wild was kind of cross-platform, two different versions, one for the Wii U, one for the Switch. I think this is going to get the same treatment. It'd be weird to not do that at this point. Because, to be honest, with how the game looks, I think having it on more powerful hardware just makes sense. You can get more out of the game.
Well, here's the thing. I like Metroid. Never played it, but I like it.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread looked fantastic, which obviously wasn't quite the main Prime series. I've got a few nitpicks for this particular entry in Metroid. Obviously, it's taken a while.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs the 4 on the name. I think because this isn't the Mario, it's not the Zelda, it's not the big tentpole franchises, but it's got a lot of beloved history and stuff. I think actually just calling it Metroid Prime Beyond, or even just Metroid Beyond, would have been a better marketing beat, and they still have time to change that. But I don't feel like the 4 adds anything to a game that's had such a big gap between entries. It's like, what market are you going for? My second pick is, I don't think it looks that great. Like, from a first-person shooter standpoint, we've been spoilt now, especially last week, Richie. We got Doom, the Dark Ages showcased, and that was something beautiful beyond all hell and reckoning. And then we're getting footage of this of Prime 4, and I'm just like, the textures look flat.
It is still a Switch game.
Yeah.
And the Switch is underpowered.
But then I'm wondering, from a story point of view, what can it do to make it better? Like, what elevates it to being a top-notch shooter other than it having the nostalgia attached to it?
I think it is trading a bit on the legacy of, one, Metroid, and specifically Metroid Prime being so well revered back in the GameCube. It is leaning into that a bit too much. I think it probably will be a very good game, and I think graphics are one of the things people can get very hung up on. But realistically, after half an hour of playing, you stop noticing the quality of the graphics unless something is obviously terrible, obviously amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You tend to just, you're in there, you get on with it. So I'm not overly concerned about about how it looks graphically, but it does look almost like a GameCube game. It's
in a way because of the HUD as well, with like the blue and the tagging, because the shooting specifically, like, again, forgive me, fans of Metroid, if you know what these creatures are, but the aliens in it. As two people who've recently just played through Halo 1 and 2 on the channel, in the Master Chief Collection, it doesn't look too dissimilar to Halo 1 and 2 in terms of just the weapons you're holding, the layout, the levels that you're traversing through, and the enemies you're killing with the blue HUD overlay. If you told me this was a clip from an old Halo game, I'd probably be like, yeah.
Yeah, I worry this game. This game's going. I think it's going to come out. It's going to do well enough. I think fans of Metroid Prime are going to love it, but I don't think it's going to really move the needle and getting. Because Metroid feels like it should be one of them Nintendo tentpole titles up there with like your Mario's, your Zeldas, but just it's a rung below. I don't think this is the game to really elevate it to that status just yet. I think they probably need to, after 4, go, right, that's Prime done. We're going to reinvent what a 3D Metroid game is. Again, the 2D games, I think, are fine. You just
keep
make more of them.
Keep doing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a part of me...
for half of a genre, to be honest. The Metroidvania genre comes from Metroid and Castlevania.
Yeah, there is a part of me which thinks that people who grew up with the originals have probably moved on to different, like, more adult shooters to without coining a phrase on it. But again, I'd love it to do well and be reviewed well. I know the remaster did very well when it came out earlier last year, I think it was. But Metroid.
I don't know. I think we just need to see if this is a Switch 2 launch title. I think that is the best chance it has, to be honest, of really elevating it.
Absolutely.
Because if it's a Switch 2 launch title, it's just going to be bundled in with everything, so everyone's going to have it.
Yeah. Should we get through some just smaller news stories quickly? So, a couple of updates that came out. There's a big one to get to.
There's one more big title we need to talk about.
One more big one.
Yeah.
For some of the smaller ones then, we got updates on things like Tales of the Shire, which we know is coming. I think that'll do really well on the Switch just because it's a cozy game. A little Hobbit title looks cuter on the Switch. Stray is coming, Richie, later on this year.
Great game.
We've both, well, one of us has the Platinum Trophy in.
One of us won the race.
What
I think that was one of the most fun bits of content we've ever done, actually, that race.
It was. And again, I think it fits well on the Switch. I'm surprised it's took them this long, but probably an exclusivity thing, possibly, maybe. Just Dance 2025, Ubisoft dedicating themselves to Just Dance in the Switch once again. That got showed off. We got a couple of other updates for other titles we knew about. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which was announced a while back, I think it was. Just another update on that one. Did we get an update, an actual date, for Luigi's Mansion?
Trying
to go through the list while I'm also trying to hunt down.
I don't have it written down in front of me, a date.
I'm sure it's coming this year. I'm sure it's around Halloween time. Funko Fusion was shown off the Switch, which I feel like is a Funko game trying to get in on the Lego style, where they want everything to be Funko. And you know what? To its credit, I thought it looked quite good, actually. Funko Fusion. You can't remember it.
To that. No, I think it looked terrible.
Oh, did you? I thought I'm not a Funko Pop collector. I've got a couple of them. I think as everyone either inherits from a friend or they buy it or it comes with something. I only have the Lion King ones. I've got like the 5 main Lion King characters. I think I bought them for the wife one time. But yeah, Funko Fusion. I think it looks quite cool. I don't know.
It did absolutely nothing for me, to be honest. I thought the game looked kind of cheap.
I mean, it's got that style that is ultimately Funko, but for me, it's always because they lean on the IP. The weird one for me, though, is the IP they're leaning into. There's like a mixture of Five Nights at Freddy's and then like older stuff. And I'm like, if this is for kids or a younger audience, why then have you got like Shaun of the Dead references in here?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, weird. But then this is where Funko, like Lego, is just, it's in everything. Jurassic Park is in there. But yeah, I don't think it'll do well. It's as okay as it looks. I won't be playing it personally, but Funko Fusion coming September. And then what are the other little small ones? I'm sure there's a couple of little ones we've missed updates on just to get them out the way before we get into the big final one. Disney Illusion Island getting some DLC content. We knew about that already. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports, which is essentially Looney Tunes meets Wii Sport, coming. Doesn't do it. I think Looney Tunes are a bit past it to be still chipping away at making new games, but if you're a fan of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck still, are they even still on, like, syndication-wise? There must be somewhere, right?
There must be somewhere, yeah.
Like HBO Max, that's owned by Warner Brothers, right? Is that They're showing anything off there?
Are they still even making new Looney Tunes?
I don't think so. I'm sure some of the older ones are probably still racist and stuck in stereotypes and stuff like that. So they're probably either very, very watered down or you just don't really see them anymore. But, yeah, I guess. Remember when they used to have Warner Brothers shops? Like Disney stores you could go into when we were kids. Like, that was a thing. Like, you used to go in at the back that have, like, the Martian, was it called? Marvin the Martian. They used to have the rocket, and there used to be TVs inside that as a kid you could crawl into and watch Looney Tunes cartoons in a shop, which when you're out with your parents and you're bored to death, it's like, oh my word. They have, like, fun stuff in this shop. But what the hell did they sell? Like, our local cinemas, all the View cinemas in the UK used to be Warner Brothers cinemas.
Yeah,
if you remember, like we used to, ours used to have like a giant Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck out the front, which is like, it's like as if that was a time, but that's again, it's of a time, and I don't think Looney Tunes World of Sport looks okay, but it's an odd combination. It's an odd thing to go with, but
it'll sell some titles.
A modest amount, yeah, more than Suicide Squad. Probably not.
My problem with this is you look at it and go, why would you buy this over something like Mario Party?
Or Wii Sport.
Which
now has basketball, thanks to an update.
Yeah.
But
so that's the thing. It's like there's better games on the Switch that it's going up against.
Indeed. But, Richie, speaking of better games on the Switch, should we get to the big one?
We should. Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yes. Hello Kitty
Huge game, actually. I'm joking, but it is actually a huge game. So if you are interested in Hello Kitty...
Island Adventure, is this the one I feel like I saw this week was referenced in South Park ages ago, before the game was even real?
It's the World of Warcraft episode where all the kids are playing World of Warcraft, apart from Butters, who's playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure, which I think I was listening to a podcast where they actually went through and dated it, and that reference was made before the game existed.
Right, yeah.
So the game then came about after it was referenced, so...
Yeah, so the quote from the South Park episode is, I don't play... Butters saying, I don't play World of Warcraft, and Cartman refutes him, says, Butters, you said you're on your computer all the time, and he says, yeah, but I'm playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. And now here we are in 2024, and Hello Kitty Island Adventure launches... it's coming to Apple Arcade July 20th, but obviously Switch a little bit later. What kind of paradoxical world do we live in where South Park, not The Simpsons, South Park is now predicting video games? I love it. And you're playing
I wouldn't
Stick
be
of Truth.
Surprised if the devs of Hello Kitty Island Adventure are South Park fans and thought, oh, that's an idea. Like it's basically like Animal Crossing. It's that kind of game.
It's a cozy game.
Very, very cozy game. I think this will do amazing on the Switch. I think this is almost more important for other platforms, though, because other platforms don't have Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they do have Disney Dreamlight Valley, though.
They do.
You still playing that?
A bits and pieces.
Chipping away.
My girlfriend's playing a lot of it. She bought the DLC, the Rift in Time.
Oh, there's a new one out.
Yeah, the DLC gives you a handful of new characters, a new entire new island to explore.
Is that the one with Stitch? I feel like I've seen that.
No, Stitch is just in it.
He's just in it now.
Yeah, I've got Stitch.
So, Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I'm going to say a hard pass for you, myself, and probably most of our audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of them games where I think I would like Dreamlight Valley, where I'd be surprised that I enjoy it if I played, but I have no interest in playing it.
I don't even know what Hello Kitty is anymore. I feel like it started off as just like plushy toys, and then it's just spawned into...
Yeah.
Well, evidently it's South Park spawned it into existence in another game franchise. But yeah, unironically, that's not the game we were talking about, though. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is not the title. We got a new Zelda game, Richie.
We did. Now, it's an actual Zelda game.
Yeah, like you, and for all those people out there who thought for many, many years, like myself, that Link was in fact Zelda. And no surprise there. The game is called Zelda, and you play as the protagonist who isn't the main person. But after years of playing second fiddle to Link, in her own franchise named, Princess Zelda's finally getting her own video game coming later this year. During the presentation, Nintendo revealed The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the franchise's first game to follow as Princess Zelda herself as she embarks on an adventure to save the world from destruction. After Ganon bests Link in battle, Zelda is left to her own devices to battle hordes of monsters that descend upon the game's version of Hyrule, which seemed to be massively inspired by the Link's Awakening remake we got a couple of years back in terms of the art choice.
Yeah, the art choice is straight up the Link's Awakening art style.
Yep.
The version of Hyrule seems to be highly inspired on A Link to the Past.
Yeah, have you seen the map comparison? Where people have took the freeze frame at the end of the trailer and showcased that actually if you look at a 2D version of the map from another game, it's almost one for one.
Yeah, it's a Link to the Past.
Which is cool.
But the thing is, it's set in Hyrule, and Hyrule has distinctive features like Hyrule, like the Lake Hylia, like Death Mountain, the Castle Town. These all exist in every single Zelda game that is set in Hyrule, so it's kind of not that surprising.
Yeah.
That they will use like an older game as inspiration for the layout of the game.
Mm-hmm. And you loved Link's Awakening remake, right?
Yeah. Well, Link's Awakening on the Game Boy is one of my favourite games of all time. And the remake, it is that game brought up to modern standards. And the art style is weird, but it is kind of cute, and I kind of like it.
So
it's one of them where I first saw it and got, oh god, what they're doing is like, actually, is that
it suits, it works. It takes that like 2D Game Boy block nature, doesn't it? Where they were stuck by design on a grid essentially of like 16 by 16, 3Difying it, and like you said, it did make it like cute and modernized without, because they could have gone fully open world 3D where you're not stuck to that rigid block system anymore. But I think that would have took a lot of the charm away from the game.
Yeah.
But this again, taking inspiration from it, you get to play Zelda for the first time. What are your thoughts? I think was this like a big pop for you, where it's like, oh shit, did you expect this at all?
Not even slightly. I didn't expect a new Zelda game, to be honest. To be perfectly
I don't think
honest.
anyone did. I think this is why it was the big one.
Yeah, and I'm so glad this game exists, because I liked Breath of the Wild. I liked Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom a lot. I never fully loved them though. The two, for me, they were always a bit too open, a bit too sandboxy.
I get that.
And I do kind of long for, I do like the more Ocarina of Time, slightly more linear narrative, where the narrative's a bit stronger. But for the 2D stuff, I'm glad they're still doing 2D Zelda games and doing interesting stuff with them. So, like, not playing as Link is a fantastic move, because then it completely changes up the gameplay.
Only took them a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
To do it. But yeah, I think it looks great. And again, Zelda's one of those franchises that I have to admire from a distance. And I knew going into this podcast, I was like, everything we're going to talk about is me going to be going, haven't played this, or not really my style. But that's just me that's my history with Nintendo. If we had a PlayStation Direct or Showcase, I would be able to talk all day about it. But a lot of stuff Nintendo does, I always appreciate from a distance, from either an artistic standpoint or gameplay, or just the reverence for them in the video game history. And seeing franchises that have been going like before we were born still kind of like just take over with new iterations, different genre defining twists and turns, and success, ultimately still success. I think The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is such a cool name as well, like proper high fantasy name. And it works and it fits, and the game looks gorgeous. And if I ever could get myself into these type of games outside of that Pokemon mindset, I know I'd enjoy it. But yes, September as well, Richie. September 26th, dropping right in the mix with every other bloody thing this year. Damn.
I am buying this game.
I figured it would be a day one for you.
Yeah, because I love them. I actually love how the trailer starts. The trailer starts off as Link fighting Ganon.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing the Zelda game, and then go, oh, actually, they're doing a Zelda game.
Yeah, and they all get kind of sucked into portals, don't they?
Zelda has the ability to kind of summon objects as well.
Yeah, interesting game mechanic.
Yeah, which I think you can see where they're found with like Tears of the Kingdom, like the creativity element of it. Oh, how can we apply that to a 2D Zelda game?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, crucially, they haven't went too far with it. It's like, yeah, you can summon objects that you've like kind of mapped from the overworld to solve puzzles, but without going full nuts with the creativity element. So I think this game is going to be awesome.
Yeah. I've just noticed in the trailer, actually, there's a small part as Link gets sucked into the portal that's like absorbing the world.
Yeah.
I've just noticed he shoots like just before his full body's emerged, he gets one arrow off to free it from the crystals. Like that's such a heroic. Like I might be dead any second now, but my last
save the princess.
The last breath will be
anyway.
get that arrow off, which is super cool.
And again, the name, the things that you summon are apparently getting called echoes.
Yeah.
And with wisdom, Zelda represents the Triforce. Has got the three parts: courage, power, and wisdom. Zelda represents the wisdom, so it's like the name is perfect.
Yeah, and she does have the staff to summon those. It's called the Tri-Rod, which when they said that, I was like, okay, I'm seeing the whole trifecta of things coming together here, for lack of a better term. Yeah. But yeah, and that I guess, Richie, was the Switch Direct in a nutshell, summed up over just under an hour. Yeah. The only thing that really bugs me is like, why couldn't Nintendo just go within Summer Game Fest? Like, why did they have to wait another? Like, I know why, they'll have their reasons.
Because
but it's
just had an hour of a podcast.
True.
Rather than like
that's
20
why.
minutes as we're trying to cram everything in.
But isn't it such a shame they couldn't take that empty Saturday slot on Summer Game Fest? So we got the opening Summer Game Fest with Jeff. Then we could have had this Direct. Then we could have had the Xbox Showcase on the Sunday. And then all the other stuff sprinkled in amongst it and had like a proper summer of games, like E3-esque thing. But again, we know why they did. We know why PlayStation went the week ahead as well. But the pops, and I get it. But overall, really good Direct. I think a couple of people going into it when they set expectations said no Switch 2 news, it's just updates on things you already know about. They still snuck in a couple of surprises there, and I think it was a very highly rated E3, and I think only bested by Xbox's showcase this year for me.
I think this could be a great end to the Switch's lifespan.
Yeah.
If this is like the last of the lineup and going right after this, that's your lot. The Switch has had a very good life. Yeah.
Very good life. Like 138 million, possibly up to now 115 maybe, the last count. Somewhere. They're chasing the PS2, sorry, not the PS5. Yeah. That 155 million, which seems so impossible. But the way Nintendo do their SKU iterations, they might catch them if they just keep doing Switch.
I don't think they can. I think they're going to fall short on that.
155, so crazy still.
I mean, they're bringing out a new Switch Lite, a Hyrule edition.
But, yeah.
Like, it's gold and looks nice. Like, nope, do not need another Switch.
If only. Yeah. I'll tell you what you do need in your life, though. Some limited run games, Richie. That's right. The company Limited Run Games put out an announcement this week where 20 plus new titles are getting a physical release. I'll run through the list for everybody listening along at home. We've got Assault Suit Leonos, never heard of it. Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition, July 12th this year. Bubsy in the Perfect Collection, terrible games. Sea Smash VRS 2024, Clock Tower Rewind 2024, Cosmic Fantasy Collection to be announced, Fear Effect 2025, G.I. Joe Wrath of the Cobra 2025, the Gex Trilogy, which we'll come back to, Jane Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch 2024, Hitman Blood Money Reprisal, Autumn 2024, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop 2024, Ninja 5 2024, Penny's Big Breakaway 2024, Rainworld 24, Rugrats Adventure in Gameland to be announced, Shantae Advanced Risky Revolution 2025, Starship Troopers Extermination 24, Star Wars The Dark Forces Remastered to be announced, Tomba 1 and 2 2024, first one coming August, second one to be announced, Toxic Crusaders 24, Valis The Phantasm Soldier Collection, never heard of it, 2024, and Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus 2024. I'm pretty sure that's already had a physical release. That's a bit of an odd one there. But 20 games. I'm a big fan of limited run games because they kind of just see out this need for physical media. And the shining light for me there, Richie, is the Gex Trilogy. I've been on a long campaign on Twitter mostly, because that's the only real gaming-centric social media thing I use. Save the Gecko. Many tweets over the years I put out about this. When we had Crash Remaster Trilogy, you referenced earlier on, we had Spyro come back. We've had all these. The only kind of two outliers now are where's the Banjo-Kazooie, Gex, and Croc.
Well, Banjo, I mean, that's with Rare, so Microsoft own that.
Yeah.
So
We'll get there eventually, I think,
Yeah.
with them.
Gex isn't always an interesting one because it's very much of the 90s.
Oh, it's so 90s.
And
60% of the jokes cannot be used.
Yeah, there's elements that are probably problematic. See, with limited run games, I think it's all right to, we're gonna. He's the games that of the time. It's the Friends argument where people go, "Oh, Friends is like there's some problematic stuff." It's like, yeah, but you need to remember it's of its time. It's not getting. It hasn't been made now. I think that's where Gex is, and to be honest, it's just going to be a fun platformer and with people for nostalgia, and that's the point of limited run games for me. Is like, yeah, it's game preservation as well.
It is.
These games deserve to exist.
Yeah, I mean, part of me, I don't feel like the Gecko is fully saved because, quite frankly, I've loved the Crash remake, like from the ground up, like make the same games but with that modern lick of paint. These just being playable on.
I think it's problematic because you'd have to change. I think too much of the game. That's problematic.
I think the core game, like the gameplay and the levels, you could keep the same. It would just be the jokes and the references and the fact that he wears Hugh Hefner's dressing gown for a chunk of one of them, and the jokes, the crude jokes are made towards. I think it's Alicia Silverstone in it. Again, it's very of the 90s, but again, this is a Gecko who's full of himself. He's a James Bond-esque schmoozy, super spy / womanizer, but he's also a Gecko. Yeah, so funny. But again, like a joke, but like things like Croc. And like ironically, like Jack and Dax that I'm playing now is like I think these platformers have such a good place in video game history, especially the early 90s, mid 90s mascot, when everyone had like that drive to get like a mascot out there front and center. And Gex was one of them. I remember him being on the front cover of many magazines with many scantily clad ladies, but that was his approach, and that's what gaming magazines did at the time.
It was obvious what they were doing with Gex. It's like, oh, we're going to do a mascot platformer, but we're going to aim at a slightly older audience. We're going to aim at horny teenagers.
Oh, and they knew exactly what they were doing with it.
100%.
I think even on the cover of the game, she's in like a black catsuit, essentially.
Yeah.
But they know what they're doing. Less said about that. But limited run games, a couple of things coming out. I know we've referenced a few titles, I think, over the last couple of weeks as they've been announced and confirmed, like Lollipop Chainsaw and stuff. Star Wars Dark Forces just got a release on PlayStation Premium, I think. So a couple of things there to look out for. While we stick with the nostalgia, Richie, you mentioned it right at the beginning of the show, actually, that you downloaded and bought the N Sane Trilogy. Just passed a nice little milestone, actually. It's its 5th anniversary, which was like, damn, as if the remake's 5 years old. Like, how old is the original now? To make me feel even older. They confirmed as a tweet out, there's a sale on at the moment, actually, if you haven't picked it up yet. 20 million units sold through globally, which is no mean feat. 20 million units is more than... I think it's more than God of War and Horizon and stuff have sold on PS5.
And this is why remakes exist, because for like me and you who grew up with the games, it's nostalgia. We get to play the game, it kind of removes some of the jankiness of early 3D consoles. And also, he's a new audience that I've heard about these games and never played them.
Yeah.
So it's,
God of War Ragnarok is up to 15.
So
it just shows you the strength of the Bandicoot. Will Gex sell that many? I doubt it. I did mention amongst that as well, Beyond Good and Evil. We touched on it on last week's show. It was rated on a board thing. But after a premature unveiling earlier in the week, I guess, through the ratings board, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Remaster is officially there. They've not said anything about a price yet, but there is a digital version going to launch. Obviously, the physical version will be through limited run games only. That's going to be coming on 25th of June, the digital version. So actually this week. So, surprise, I guess it's in line with its anniversary, which would make sense. The physical ones from limited run games start on the 12th of July. So Ubisoft confirmed it. It's a remaster of the much-loved 2003 action-adventure Beyond Good and Evil. It was in the Ubisoft Plus as a technical error. I think there was a developer's build appeared briefly on Ubisoft Plus, which we know about because if you remember the original Immortals game when it was titled Gods and Monsters, it showed up on Google Stadia under the codename Orpheus, and we had a couple of friends who were able to play it. very, very briefly, like, which is like, it's mad to think that stuff gets through the nets, but Ubisoft keep doing Ubisoft things. Again, make good games, bad decisions is our our mantra for Ubisoft.
Someone accidentally hit the publish button rather than just
save draft.
When you put in that says save draft and save and publish, and then hit save and publish.
Yeah. Do you know the one thing that's still got? I know we spoke about it last week and said I don't know if no one in the comments said after last week's show. I said let me know in the comments if you care about this game, and no one said anything. 25th anniversary, fantastic. Why wasn't this just at the Ubisoft Forward? Like, why wouldn't you just shoehorn a 2-minute trailer for an anniversary of a beloved title? Other than maybe they don't want to piss people off because they weren't shown the second one again.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like, okay. It looks okay. But the remake, the anniversary one. It looks tidied up, what I'd expect from a remake.
Yeah, the one thing I get from this, though, is I want Ubisoft Plus on PlayStation.
Yeah, it's a long way off still, probably. Shouldn't be, but it is. So yeah, Beyond Good and Evil, Anniversary Edition, out this week digitally, later on from Limited Run Games, if you do want it. I love how it says Ubisoft Original on the marketing for it. It's like, can you rebrand it as an original, like 20 years after the fact? I mean, it technically is.
Ubisoft made it, yeah.
Yeah, true. Right, we also got Timesplitters was rated at Taiwanese rating boards. This is just the original Timesplitters for PS4 and PS5, leading to speculation of an imminent arrival on PlayStation Plus. That, for me, my guess is we're going to sit down for next week's show, and you know the PlayStation Plus catalogue games that get added? This will be a PS2 port of that with trophy support, which is a big disappointment because the Embracer Group are just sitting on this franchise. Remember, they rebirthed like a phoenix from the ashes, Free Radical Designs, and then they shut them down and laid everyone off. So Timesplitters is just stuck, ironically, in time, and I don't think we're going to get a new entry for painfully quite some time now. But this is a bit of nostalgia. It's only the original. Hopefully we'll see 2 and the third one, Future Perfect, come eventually. But we'll probably have to wait for some time.
We need to wait till the Embracer Group completely collapses, and then someone will pick the pieces of the wreckage up, and then they might start thinking about doing a Timesplitters.
Yeah. And ironically, for those who don't know why Timesplitters is so well revered and stuff, not only do I love it, my brother loves it, but the original Timesplitters, which came out in 2000 on the PlayStation 2, it was followed with the 2 sequels, but Free Radical Design compromised of most developers from Rare's GoldenEye and Perfect Dark series. So it's basically when they made those 2 games, they then went off created Free Radical Design, made Timesplitters. So when week in, week out, we talk about the legacy of GoldenEye, and then actually that evolved into Perfect Dark, that then evolved into Timesplitters. So you can kind of see the heritage of shooters in couch co-op and arenas and stuff.
And around the same time, Rare kind of had its fall from grace. After its Nintendo 64 era, Rare just kind of fell off a cliff a bit.
Well, by the sounds of it, all their staff left to make other games elsewhere.
But very much Rare was the big developer for a good period of time.
Absolutely.
Like, if you look at how like Activision and Ubisoft, Rare was in that mix.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving away though to some cloud gaming news this week, Richie. I mean, it's not necessarily just cloud gaming news, but Amazon news full stop. Amazon Luna officially launched in some more countries. So welcome to the fold, people of Austria, the Netherlands, and Poland. I'm sure you're all enjoying the Euros right now, but guess what? You can pause the football, you can boot up Amazon Luna in your respective web browser, and you can play a bunch of games. And now, so Rich, you can play even more games because the GOG Game Store is now available. So any Luna Plus subscribers and Amazon Prime members can now purchase and play selected games from the GOG Store on any Luna-compatible device, including all the listed above. Luna will continue expanding its selection from the GOG Store, bringing customers many more titles to choose from in the coming months. So, been a long time coming. It was a great little boost for them when they announced that. We've now got, in tandem with the launch of some new countries, can enjoy all of these AAA things. Just for the life of me, Luna, stop just promoting Fortnite.
I think Luna is almost going the GeForce Now route with this.
It seems like a pivot, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to pay for your membership, whether either it's Luna Plus or Amazon Prime, that gives you access to Luna, and then you can play games from a third-party storefront through the cloud using Luna. I like this partnership between GOG and Luna. GOG for anyone who doesn't know, originally it was called Good Old Games. Made the name like porting older games onto modern hardware in the PC space, and focus on things like DRM free content. So when you buy the game from GOG, you don't have to play it through their apps or anything. There's not tied to an account. It's just like you have the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like back in the day where you just have the disc and then there you go. But it's like a digital version of that. So GOG has a lot of kind of good credit in the PC space for stuff like that. And them supporting cloud gaming, especially if eventually they get the majority of the library over, that would be great. I think this is good news for Amazon Luna. And this can go a long way to fixing one of the biggest problems Luna has. And it's the same problem Stadia had, content.
Yeah. Games. And we've said that. I think we said it. We sat here probably this time last year, and I might even repeat myself word for word. You'll have to go back and watch our video from last year's Summer Game Fest. How many big announcements did we have over the last fortnight that we've got hyped about, we've enjoyed, we've looked at and thought, I cannot wait. We're sat here at the end of June, so beyond the halfway point of 2024. What game that's came out this year has came to Amazon Luna? Because I can't think of one.
Me either.
Other than Fortnite expansions, I can't think of one game that's came out. Other than, I guess, actually scratch that. I guess Ubisoft titles, so the Prince of Persia Lost Crown will be on there. And by the end of the year, they will have Star Wars Outlaws and they will have Assassin's Creed Shadows. But you can't just put your eggs in one basket with Ubisoft. Especially now you can buy the games a la carte, which is great. We're back to what Stadia were doing already anyway. Your subscription and your purchasable options. But you need to get more partners involved. You need to get these games on because no one's going to be going to your platform. All these people who are just going to pick it up for the first time in Austria, the Netherlands and Poland are going to go, it's missing half the games that I want to play this year because they're not there. And then they'll put it down. They'll never open it again. Risky. But they're still chipping away, and we obviously wish them the absolute best of luck. When was the last time you played anything on Luna?
Probably Fortnite on stream. When it
launched.
Basically didn't work for me at all.
That wasn't absolutely Luna's fault, though, if I recall. It was your internet connection.
I don't know, but I can't remember specifically, but I remember I've always had good performance from cloud gaming. It was just a one-off. I've never I'm not holding that against Luna, but it's been a while because there's just been nothing I want to play on, and the advantage for me, one of the things I loved about Stadia was not necessarily the console experience of Stadia, the PC experience of Stadia. So you could get PC games effectively running on your PC without the need for very expensive hardware. That was where the big selling point, that's what got me invested. Like, cloud gaming can fix that problem. I don't need to drop 1,500 quid on the PC to play modern titles.
Yeah. Interesting. But seemingly Amazon are diverging anyway with their games portfolio because not only are they investing still in their cloud gaming platform, they're also digging into game publishing and game creation. And this week they announced, Amazon Games and NCSoft announced Throne and Liberty, a free-to-play MMO RPG featuring massive scale combat in a dynamic world, will launch in North and South America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. The game will be available on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S with cross-platform play enabled. No mention of their own platform, Amazon Luna, which must be one of the biggest frustrations of anyone actually playing Luna out there is they want to play games and they're being told by the parent company that we're making great games, but they're not coming to the platform you're trying to support in its infancy. Like, even Stadia wasn't that stupid.
I just still don't understand. I know
Amazon
right? Games and Amazon Luna are different arms.
But from an optics standpoint,
Amazon,
it doesn't matter.
You think, Amazon corporate must be like, you guys need to work together a bit.
I mean, even then, when they're putting the game, what platforms are we bringing this to? Surely the conversation should be, by default, we'll be putting it on our own. Surely that's basic 101 marketing is all the costs you would save because it's your own platform. You wouldn't have to go through publishing. You wouldn't have to go through licensing. You own all the tech because it's all in-house. To then opt out of that, seemingly, is such a frustrating decision. But reading into it a bit more, September 17th, we know fans around the world have eagerly awaited news on when they can jump into the new game. We can't wait to show you what we've been working on. We invite you to experience it all when the game launches this September. So, MMORPG, Richie, it's not really my style. This gives me big Diablo vibes from the trailer, I want to say. Like, it looks good. And to be fair, when you look at New World and Lost Ark, which I know Lost Ark isn't necessarily them, but it's published by them, New World had a moment in the sun. Millions and millions of concurrent players, and then it died off, and it's had a bit of a resurgence with the announcement of Eternum coming in October. But yeah, Throne and Liberty, it's a cool name, free. So what do you think this could do from just visually from your take on the trailer?
It's hard to know because these games, I think, of this style, with it especially being an MMO, sometimes it can come out and no one gives a damn, regardless how good the game looks. No one cares. The game's dead. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they can suddenly have, like New World had its moment. But a lot of players will have dropped off New World, but then it finds its core audience, which sustains it for long times. So I really don't know what my expectation for this could be, because I think it does look decent. MMOs, I think, are difficult because the clue is in the name. It's massive multiplayer. You need a lot of people to sustain it. And as soon as the player base if the player base falls off, the game dies.
I think launching on console, I think, is probably its biggest chance.
Yeah,
for this, because that's multiple markets with crossplayer there off the bat as well. That hopefully it could do quite well. But you know what? I'd like to see Amazon doing the publishing arm. That's what we said Google should have probably started off with, is branching out and doing publishing on other platforms, buying studios, but still making games on other platforms, and then almost forcing them studios to make games for your platform too. So expanding on multiple fronts at the same time without dedicating yourself to just such a small number of players. And with some
getting into the hardware game, you get into the software game first.
Create that income stream off the back of game publishing and then go from there, because I think Google could have done that quite easily, but we won't lament on that because we've got some games to talk about, Richie, as we round up this week's show. I mentioned it right at the top, but I've been playing Still Wakes the Deep. Just want to do a quick review roundup as we get into the final throws of our week's show. Reading from the roundup, we've got Pure Xbox gave Still Wakes the Deep 8 out of 10. Still Wakes the Deep is a tight narrative adventure dripping in atmosphere and oozing in that sweet Scottish personality we've all come to love. In brackets, shouting and swearing lots, as it turns out. If you're happy with a total lack of combat and more focus on story and exploration, then this one is definitely worth playing through on Xbox Game Pass. That's from Pure Xbox. The Sixth Axis gave it a 9 out of 10. Treat Still Wakes the Deep like a Netflix miniseries and you will have a whale of a time. Its excellent script, acting and atmosphere make it just as good to passively watch as it is to actively play. So grab your partner, turn off the lights and binge it for a few evenings. Push Square, given an 8 out of 10. Still Wakes the Deep may not stick around for long, but it'll have an ironclad grip on you across its runtime. There's clear inspiration here from a horror movie classic such as Alien and The Thing, and we adored seeing those inspirations play out through its highly detailed settings of salt-of-the-earth cast of characters. VGC give it 4 out of 5, Games Radar 4 out of 5, IGN 6 out of 10, seemingly the lower of the rankings out of the few. But there's a first look up on the channel now of my playthrough. I played for about an hour and a little bit. And everything that's said in those reviews, I completely echo. It's the Chinese room, as I mentioned, so it's from the people who made Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which is very much got a little bit of a stick for being known as a walking simulator. This one's a little bit more interactive, but essentially, yes, Richie, if you don't know about it, you're on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean. You play as a Scottish guy called Kaz, and you're being called back to land because if you've got some problem with the police. The ship's captain, or the oil rig's captain, is not happy with you because you're messing with his scheduling everything because you're the electrician on board. And then just as you're in his office and he's telling you off for something, the drilling that's going on hits something. And then all shit pops off and it turns into a very, as it said in the review description there, like an Alien-esque thing. But graphically, looks gorgeous. It's free on Game Pass. It's only 5 or so hours. So I think everything in there, I would probably say you and your girlfriend would probably thoroughly enjoy playing through this. story, narrative, not too horror, but it's got a little vibe to it, a little tinge. But yeah, the voice acting, terrific. A lot of Scottishisms in there. You can beat it, Richie. You can beat it. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this thing? Are you checking it out?
I'm not in any mad rush to check it out. I think it looks good. Going back to the IGN review, I think reading it, it's like they mainly seem to be criticising it for its lack ability to explore, and saying it's like nearly on rails. But I think maybe they're trying to review it as a game that they think it should be rather than the game it is. So I think IGN maybe being a bit harsh, just reading their review.
Yeah, I mean, to give our listeners and viewers the context, and a quote from the IGN review, I want to give Still Wakes Sleep all the credit it deserves for fantastic art, dialogue, voiceover, work, and setting, but it's frustrating to play with its nearly on-the-rail structure that actively scoffs at the idea of exploration.
But not every game needs to be about exploration.
Yeah, I mean, again, after the hour or so I played, I didn't feel like I was on rails. Like, don't get me wrong, it was linear, but I could still go in different rooms and have a look around. But the whole point of it was to funnel me down a certain area. So the horror vibe got me. Like, it wanted me to go down a certain corridor, so I would see a certain shadow or a noise would jump out at me, and that wouldn't happen if it was just for exploration.
That's kind of what I mean, where it feels like they're reviewing it as the game they wish it was rather than the game that it actually is.
Yeah, I agree for that. But yeah, it's like saying that playing as someone else, if you were just watching it, would be almost a nearly identical experience. It was like, but that's what they're going for. It's telling a story. It's an
interactive movie more than a game in some ways.
And that's what the Chinese room, that's their intent. So either way, I thoroughly enjoyed the first hour, and I intend to go in and complete more of it. So it's doing well on OpenCritic, 77. And again, it's on Game Pass, so if you want to check it out.
Honestly, if my Xbox was at my girlfriend's, I might. That's probably the thing. Is oddly enough, that's probably the thing that's making me less inclined to play it. Just the location of my Xbox.
Yeah, and I wouldn't play this on your phone. It needs to be admired in a big screen format. Final one.
I think I'd have fun playing with her, and you couldn't really do that on your phone.
Yeah, it would be very awkwardly. Final updates for the week. The PlayStation Portal has had its first software release. It's out now. You updated yours, Richie?
I don't know. My girlfriend had it at work last night. She said it needed an update, but I don't know whether she actually did it.
Probably.
Maybe.
I think you have to. I don't think it lets you get around it from what I recall. Either way, the new update, which is available now, comes with a sign-on-screen support, so you can select public Wi-Fi networks, new visual feedback for touchpads, display battery percentage level as well, which is a nice little quality of life thing, and a couple more little tweaks internally. The biggest one, I think, for most people will probably be the ability to access public Wi-Fi networks. And I know a couple of people now on Discord, link in the description below if you want to hang out with some awesome gaming folks, is if you attach to like a hotel Wi-Fi or an airport Wi-Fi, sometimes they try and send you to an external browser to sign in. And because the portal doesn't have a web browser, you couldn't do it. So that limited public Wi-Fi, which again, I'm not sure how many people actually rely on public Wi-Fi because it's quite frankly shit in most places.
It is, but I've always maintained a device like this should be portable.
Yeah.
And because it requires the internet, you then accessing public Wi-Fi, or even like hotel Wi-Fi, which is not necessarily public because it's private hotel, you should be able to access this. That's why I've always been a big advocate for any device like the Portal, like the Steam Deck, and that kind of classification of being able to use mobile data.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think this is probably... We can only theorize, but this is probably down to it's probably down to the security of the portal, because if it had a web browser, that opens it up for hacking a lot more. You can put URL links in, you can get connections to the portal via web browser. Ironically enough, the PlayStation Vita that I'm allegedly jailbreaking, that's how you do it. You literally go on and go like vita.something.com and boom, it just overrides the whole operating system of the Vita and just installs stuff that you need to play it in 2024.
Yep.
But it's literally just you go on a web browser, and I think they're negating that because of the portal. I don't think that'll stop them in the long run, but it does run on Android behind the scenes, so it's very adaptable and very editable. Nice to see. I was hoping when I saw the news of the PlayStation blog post about the Portal updates, I was hoping for the cloud gaming being added, but I do think it's coming. I just think it's it's a couple of months, if not a year or so off.
They're the two big updates I personally want in the portal. There's one, full cloud gaming support.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't, not just remote play, so it doesn't tie you to your console, which then makes your console useless for anyone else in your household while you're playing the portal, and get rid of the exclusivity for wireless headphones. Let me use the ones I already have.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, Sony, that is just being a dick. Like, I'm not buying your headphones.
Proprietary hardware, software never worked in the past with your memory cards, so don't fall foul again. But yeah, I think the Portal, again, I think you and me both love it. I think it's a fantastic little device. It's just not being optimized to the best of its potential, and I think if Xbox do come out with a potential handheld, with no doubt Xbox has got to have cloud gaming in there. It's such a big part of their ecosystem, their message, and with the success of the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck 2 eventually coming and all these other portable devices like the ROG Ally, I think PlayStation, they've got to be having R&D conversations behind the scenes saying, how possible is it? Because let's face it, Richie, it's doable. They just need to open up a web browser that can stream the PS Plus games, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's all they need to do. So I don't think it's far off. I think they'll hold the cards close to the chest until they're definitely ready.
Oh, there's one more thing I'd like. I'd like the ability to sign into multiple accounts. So have a landing page where I pick my account. Because you don't really. You have to go through your PlayStation app on your phone and scan a QR code, which means when me and my girlfriend both use it, we have to log out of the account and the other person gets a phone. Can we just not have both of our accounts on a home screen? I go, that's me. I'm in. Here's my list of consoles.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think, multiple accounts.
It's quality of life stuff. I mean, we can share it. It's not a problem. It's just a bit tedious.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right then, final two news stories for the week. Just some quick video game movie news. Miyamoto has announced that, he actually announced it before the Direct. He wanted to let us know that the Super Mario movie is coming out. The sequel is coming out April 24th, 2026 in Japan. No casting news, no trailer, just he's letting us know the date, which will probably change by the time it comes around.
Yeah. It's weird to let us know a date without a trailer. Usually in these sort of announcements, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, we're working on it.
Yeah, which we all knew.
But to give us a specific date and not have a trailer is kind of, okay.
It'll move. All movies and games move now. And then the final one, if there was any doubt in your mind, the Uncharted movie featuring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg has been officially greenlit for a sequel. Sony Pictures went through a whole presentation at the Cine Europe event, which is just like a collection of movie publishers get together and talk about what their plans are. There's a sequel coming.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the first one, so...
I enjoyed the first one. Again, I think casting could have been different, and the way they handled certain things in the movie irked me a little bit. Predominantly the lack of use of the theme tune, which, again, I think my problem with a lot of modern movies is they always go for replicating stuff like Indiana Jones or action movies of old, but then they get caught up in modernising it with, like, there's an action sequence happening or a chase sequence, let's put some really hardcore R&B dance music or a pop culture music over there. You know, in the Mario movie, when they did the race with them at Donkey Kong? Oh, you haven't seen it? There's a part where they meet Donkey Kong and he drives them somewhere in the back of his cart, and they play Take On Me by Aha over the scene, and it's like... Rather
than playing one of the many classic Nintendo... Like,
is it Take On Me? Or is it? It's some 80s pop song, I'm pretty sure. It might be Holding Out for a Hero from Shrek or whatever, I can't remember. But then Uncharted does it where, stuff's happening and they opt to go with, like, modern music. And I'm like, you have one of the best video game soundtracks of all time at your disposal with an epic orchestral rendition that sings of, like, exploration, adventure, Indiana Jones themes. And you opt to... They do use it a little bit, but you're talking, like... 2% of the movie as opposed to what should have been 98% of the movie. But you know what? I like Tom Holland, although he was a bit young for me for Nathan Drake. I like Mark Wahlberg, for lack of a better term, even though he didn't have a mustache in it. But with it being a sequel, I want them to age up and grow into their roles respectively.
Yeah, I think that's... when Tom Holland was cast, like, is he a bit young for Nathan Drake? Same with Mark Wahlberg. It's like, well, I suppose what they can do is they can have the characters age naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now the sequel, it's been several years... So
literally will
the characters can be several years older and still believable. So I don't mind what they did with the ages.
Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg, spoilers for the movie if you haven't seen it, there is a post-credit scene where he does have his mustache. So they knew what they were doing. But again, it made good money at the box office, which I'm glad to see. Because it's that thing where if the movie didn't do well, it'd be like, okay, I guess we're never seeing any more Uncharted stuff for probably another 15 years, like Tomb Raider, where you wait for an inevitable other reboot. But while we wait...
the highest grossing video game movies of all time.
Yeah. Which is not quite up there with the Mario crossing the billion and stuff, but if it's profitable, they'll do it. And I like Tom Holland and I like Mark Wahlberg, so yeah, give me more. I just want them to explore more into the adventure, because there was some good globe-trotting exploits that happened in the movie. And I'd definitely say if you're looking for a popcorn flick, it's definitely one of them. It's better than the last couple of Fast and Furious movies, so that's all you need to
I'd like
know.
to watch it at some point. I was just in no mad rush.
I think you'll enjoy it. I think ideally could have done a series like The Last of Us quality, but if HBO ain't going to pick it up, then it's not worth it. Right, Richie, that's it for TV, that's it for video game news. Let's run out the show as we always do every week with looking back at this day in video game history. We're recording on Saturday the 22nd of June. So anything stands out for you in this day in history?
Not today. I'm looking now at Sunday. Oh yes, there's an absolute some bangers on Sunday. June the 23rd is a good day for video games.
Well,
have you looked at it yet?
Not yet, but before we wrap up for this day, 1 year ago, Final Fantasy 16. Yeah. My first ever Final Fantasy game and platinum.
I usually kind of gloss over the ones that just like last year.
So yeah, they're not as emphatic where it's like, oh, it only came out last year. Other than me going, oh shit, was that a year ago? Yeah, it's not quite hit when someone hits you by saying 33 years ago in 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog launched on the Nintendo, on the Sega Genesis. Our Boy in Blue launched 33 years ago. 28 years ago in Japan, we got the launch of the Nintendo 64, which obviously was a pack-in with the ever wonderful Super Mario 64. So yeah, to make you feel old, Sonic 33, N64, 28 years. Keep it on that. Yeah, this is a banger of a day, actually. 25 years ago in 1999, Ape Escape hit the PlayStation 1, the first game to include the
the analog sticks.
Analog sticks. Well, I can't even think of the name of them yet. This was such ingrained in it. Ape Escape.
It was. You needed a DualShock controller. Yeah. You couldn't use a standard controller for that.
I remember as a kid being so confused when I think my dad got us the game. We put it in. We could navigate the menus, but then when we got into the game, he wouldn't move. And it was like, I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. And then we realised, like, many days later.
You read the box.
Yeah, but we didn't have a DualShock. We didn't have a DualShock. So we just had the original ones and just saw the PlayStation 1 game.
It might not have even been a DualShock then.
I'll have just had a... Yeah, because the game came out like a couple of... when did the PS5... PS1 was, what, like 94, 95 in the UK. Yeah. So you're talking 4 or 5 years of existence. So... yeah, it was just like, oh, well, we don't have one yet. And I think we had to convince my dad to get a DualShock for the game because you couldn't take it back. So it was like, oh, well. Any other ones for you?
A game that I would love to see them remake, actually, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, because it's a good Zelda game. The weird thing, though, is because it was a DS game, is right near the start of the lifespan of the DS, you had to use the stylus.
Right.
So it could do with like
tweaking,
remake the game, or even remake the game in a way that kind of gets rid of the need for two screens and gets rid of the stylus. But so there could be something awesome there. There was something else I saw that I wanted to mention. Oh, Pokemon Black and White 2.
Nice.
Like 12 years ago.
12 years already.
To be fair, you see the top two things in this list that we're using from Gamer FAQs, and it's Sonic the Hedgehog and Nintendo 64. That's a good game. That's a good day in gaming history. You don't need more than that.
Not at all. That is solid. Yeah. But yeah, a couple of interesting ones. Let us know if you've got any particular favourites you guys would like to pick out in the comments down below. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all the great content we do here on the channel, like this very show, like our weekly live streams, our first looks, and all the other deep dive videos we do here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV. Thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in, watched, and supported the channel. Don't forget to share to help us out with the algorithm. If you want to get in the chat with a bunch of other wonderful gamer folk, Link is in the description. We'll be back later on this week with some form of live stream, no doubt. The Uncharted Golden Abyss final episode goes up this week. Members already have access to it, so go check that out as well. Have a look at my Still Wakes the Deep live stream if you want to have a look at what that looks like. And that's been it for episode 45 of the Gamer Guild podcast. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We've been GamerGuildTV. Thank you very much for watching, folks. And remember, play wherever makes you the happiest. Goodbye.